As the year winds down, I want to share with you the bike camera mounts that I grabbed and used the most in 2023. We're first going to break this down into categories. So we're going to have the handlebar style, then we'll talk about on body or helmet, handheld, and then finally little gadgets and gizmos that I used with bike mounts that I found handy, especially for my line of work, which is a full-time content creator in the bike space. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Arlie with Bike Shop Girl. My goal here is to really break down the cycling tech world, and a lot of times that includes cameras and all these gadgets that we use to make our ride more fulfilling, more fun. So if that interests you, make sure to stick around and check out other videos. So first off, we're going to look at the handlebar mount setup. Always, it travels with me, is going to be the Phi-Tech. So the reasons I love it, it's easy to pull in and off. It can fit different size tubing. So if I want to put it on different size handlebars, if I want to put it on different mounts on, say, like a cargo bike or electric bike, it can fit around a lot of things. Not burly main frame tubes, but it can fit in a lot of places. And it has two ball heads, so I can adjust it and really dial it in. But the other thing I like is the ball heads also snap out. So when I lock up my bike, I actually leave this bottom part clamped to my handlebar, and I loosen the top and just grab this top unit with my camera and throw that in my pocket or bag. And interestingly, Insta360, this is now the mount that they include with their cycling setup. The second thing that I actually started using a decent amount was the basic GoPro jaw. So I saw this from Ryan Van Duzer, where he just clamps this on his bar and talks to camera and then clamps it back. It's pretty steady. It's not rock steady, but it's pretty steady. And I like that I can pull it off and actually use it as a tripod and a lot of different things. So far, I've been impressed with this pretty simple setup that actually came in one of my GoPro bundles many years ago. So those are the two handlebar mounts that I use for bike cameras. I've tried many, and I'll save that for a different video. Just know these are the two that I tried and tested and abused and get all of my recommendations. The next category is going to be handheld, and this is probably my second most common setup. So typically I have an Insta360 X3 on my handlebar with a Phi-Tech mount, and then a camera that I can easily grab either out of a pouch on my handlebars or in a pocket on my backpack and talk to camera, get in somebody's face for audio and video, and just have that second point of view without removing something from my handlebar. This right here is my tried and true setup. It's a GoPro Hero 11 on a shorty tripod, which comes with almost all GoPro setups. So I have many of these. And then this little wind muff helping cut down the wind as I'm talking and biking. This right here, this setup is my most used handheld rig by far. Coming in close, because it's a new camera, I haven't been able to use it as much, is the new Pocket 3. Just handheld. Sometimes I'll have this extra battery attachment at the bottom to hold onto it. But I love this because it has a built-in gimbal, a 1-inch sensor. But this is all-encompassing, and so I just typically ride with this in my little pocket on my backpack. This is quickly becoming my other go-to handheld setup. So I don't do a ton using my body or helmet If I am running my helmet mount, it's probably using my Insta360 X3, and I use this little sidearm mount from Bike Sauce. This turns my Insta360 X3 or X2 sideways, so it's not sticking off my head like a unicorn, and I can still get a pretty decent 360 view for the stitching. If it's angled down, I do get clipped a little bit, but so far I really prefer it. It helps with the weight on my head and from that unicorn looking style. The other one that I do use a decent amount if I'm riding off-road, if it's mountain biking or gravel biking, will be this bite mount. So what's cool about this is you just put it in your mouth and you're riding around, and it's much more stable footage because your head and your body are giving you a little bit more stability and you're getting that unique point of view, but the camera's not stuck to your chest. I personally hate the view if it's the only view of somebody's arms in my shot. So I like this because it's a little bit up. The shoulders aren't coming in around the frame, and I can just pull it out, put it in my bag on my handlebar, or hold it and talk to camera and then put it back in my cycling jersey or that handlebar bag. The other two, I don't use a ton, but they're so unique that I have to include them because they're the ones that help me get the first person view while working on bikes. These both are using the Insta360 Go 3, which is a super small camera. And the first one is a clip that you can either put on top of a ball cap or something like that, or I sometimes clip it to my backpack strap. And it pivots side to side, but not up and down, depending how you have it aligned. But I love this because it's just such a small camera. And the second one, same idea, is a pendant that mounts around my neck, and then I have the Go 3 that magnetically clips on. If you use this and you're very active or it might get bumped, I do recommend their second lanyard that makes the camera from falling off. But this I like with their new wedge system because I can wear it right in front of my chest, show people what I'm doing with my hands, if I'm working on something, if I'm in the details of fixing something, and the camera is so small. In the past, I was getting those shots using the snap mount with a GoPro, which is a beautiful system, also has a lanyard, but the GoPro is pretty big and bulky. So I love using the Go 3 again for those unique points of view, showing somebody up close what I'm doing with my hands. The last category are odds and ends. They don't fit into any of those three categories, but they're little extra accessories that really make my life easier. These are selfie sticks, specifically invisible selfie sticks from Insta360. They come in all sorts of lengths. This one right here is carbon and crazy long, at least 300 centimeters. I don't use it a ton, but it's really cool to get that kind of drone feeling bit. And then these other two, I do use a ton where I'm holding the Insta360 off the bike or attaching it to the bike and it's away from me and getting really unique shots. I prefer the shortest version just because it's easier for me to carry or drop in a handlebar bag. But these are really quite amazing, especially paired with some of the new cameras that have the stitching and the invisible selfie stick technology. And then my last one, I have to climb up to get. So my last one is not really bike specific, but it's these little arms that come in different lengths. And when you loosen them, they can adjust in various angles. And then the mouth to the clamp can be opened, or the clamp can be purchased to be bigger. and I can attach it to a lot of cool things. It was just attached to my garage door beam, so we can get top-down shots. I've attached it to all sorts of down tubes and seat tubes and bike parts. I've attached it to lights and all sorts of things. So I really do love these. They travel with me all the time. So I think those are all the key ones. Those were the ones that when I pack my bag to go on an adventure, I'm grabbing most of those things. By far, the handlebar mount, the Phytech with the Insta360 X3, and then that talk to camera, typically a GoPro Hero 11. Those two are always with me with extra batteries. I would love to hear from you. What bike mounts are you using? How do you attach your camera to you or your bike or the world around you? I'd love to hear about it in the comments below. And this is probably my last video for 2023. So if it is, thank you so much for joining me this year. Make sure to hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the new year.